Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really potent legal concept. How the way someone commits a crime can dramatically change everything.
That's right. We're looking at what the law calls means involving great waste and ruin. Think fire, floods, explosions, methods that cause massive destruction.
Yeah, and our mission today is to unpack how choosing such a destructive method affects the crime's classification and, importantly, the punishment.
Exactly. We're trying to find that line, between terrible accidental damage and the deliberate, calculated use of chaos itself as the weapon.
Which got to be the core challenge, right? For judges, for lawyers.
Yeah.
How do you distinguish? How do you know if the destruction was the point or just collateral damage?
Well, it really comes down to one crucial thing: intentionality. It's foundational.
Okay.
For this aggravating circumstance to apply, the means, the fire, the bomb, whatever it must be deliberately used, purposefully employed to achieve the criminal aim.
So it can't just be incidental, like a getaway car crashing and causing damage wouldn't count here.
No, exactly. You have to have chosen the destructive method specifically. And related to that is the idea of great waste and ruin.
Right. The destruction itself needs to be significant. It has to go beyond just the immediate target, doesn't it?
Precisely. It involves, well, great waste, significant property damage, resource destruction, often far exceeding the primary objective. It's almost like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut, but deliberately.
That focus on intent brings up a classic legal puzzle.
Ah.
Arson versus murder by fire.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets really interesting legally.
So if someone just wants to burn down an empty warehouse, that's arson, a property crime. But what if, unknown to them, someone is inside and dies?
That's the tricky part. The key legal thinking based on important cases, it sets up a kind of two-part test.
Okay, what are they?
First, there has to be an actual design to kill, intent to end a life, not just destroy property.
It's a specific person, or
Could be a specific person, or maybe a group they know is inside. And second, the fire itself must be purposefully chosen as the tool to achieve that killing.
so if the intent was only arson, only property destruction, and someone dies, tragically.
Then, legally, the death is often seen as a consequence of the arson. It's sometimes described as being absorbed into the property crime. The person is punished severely for the arson, obviously, but not necessarily murder.
Wow. So the offender's initial intent is paramount, even if the outcome is lethal.
Exactly. Unless the prosecution can prove that pre-existing design to kill using fire, it stays primarily in the realm of the property offense, albeit a very serious one.
That distinction really highlights how these circumstances get classified, doesn't it? This great waste and ruin idea can work in two ways, legally speaking.
Correct. It can be qualifying or it can be generic.
What's the difference there?
Qualifying is the big one. It can elevate a crime, say, from homicide to murder, the most serious charge, if there isn't another qualifying circumstance already present.
Like your example earlier, maybe killing someone by throwing a grenade into their room. The explosive qualifies it as murder.
Precisely. But if the crime is already qualified as the highest level, for example, if someone kills a parent, which is automatically parricide, a top-tier offense due to the relationship.
Then the destructive means, like using fire in that parricide, doesn't elevate it again.
Right. It shifts to a generic function. It's used to increase the penalty, but only within the range already set for parricide. It doesn't change the name or fundamental classification of the crime again.
So it prevents double counting the severity, in a way.
Basically, yes. The law acknowledges the inherent wrongness of the act qualified by the relationship, and then the method adds to the penalty but doesn't requalify it.
Now, explosives add another layer, especially with how the law has evolved.
Yeah, that's a good example of modernization. It used to be that just using unlicensed explosives was its own separate crime.
But not anymore.
Not quite. Legislation like RA 8294 changed things. It recognized that the use of the explosive was often about the intent behind it. So now, using an unlicensed explosive isn't usually a standalone crime, but rather an aggravating circumstance for other existing crimes under the revised penal code.
So back to the grenade example. If I throw it just to wreck a building,
It aggravates the property destruction charge, makes the penalty harsher.
but if I throw it intending to kill the people inside,
Then the use of the explosive qualifies the act as murder. Same act, same device. The intent completely changes the legal outcome. Drastically different consequences.
so the big takeaway for you listening is that it's not just about the amount of damage caused. The law focuses intensely on the choice.
Absolutely. The offender's calculated decision to employ a method known for its capacity for widespread destruction. That choice speaks volumes about their mindset.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over. If this principle applies when someone actively creates destruction, sets the fire, plants the bomb, how does that really differ from another legal concept, paragraph 7, which deals with crimes committed by exploiting an existing disaster?
Right, like looting during an earthquake or a fire someone else started. One is about actively causing the chaos. The other is about opportunistically taking advantage of it. Think about that distinction. Active creation versus passive exploitation. Where does the moral and legal culpability truly lie?